Welcome back, artistic ladies and gentlemen, to this week's deck building video for the Wizard Wednesday challenge. In this video I'm guiding you through my thought process of putting the Ludicolo deck together for the challenge. There's not gonna be any battles in this video. If you want to see the battles with the deck, or if you want to see the very short version of the deck analysis, click the video annotation on the screen and that will take you to the Wizard Wednesday challenge. We are going to start building the deck right here, right now. Let's first look up what kind of Lotads we have available to us, which Lotads I have in my collection. So apparently there's only one type of Lotad, so we can only choose one Lotad. That's going to be this one, with hitting for the beat with a DCE, does 20 damage and has a single retreat cost. I've got 2 reverse holo ones. That's not enough for the deck, we will need more, so we are going to stick with the non-reverse holo and increase the count to 4 basic Lotads. It's probably what we will need for as the base for the evolution line. It's usually the best choice. Then let's have a look. We have the Lombre. We've got only only one single kind of Lombre as well. I've got 2 reverse holos of that one too. Let's get rid of the reverse holos for now, include the normal ones, and go with a 3 count, maybe a 4. We are going to start off very thick with our lines. We can always thin them out later. And then we'll have a look at our Ludicolos. So again, only one type, the types that we already have right there. We shall increase the water typing to 3. Let's make it a very, very thick line. And the grass typing to 1, because the grass type Ludicolo is gonna act like a free listener. It's not going to be used for attacking. Solar Ray hits for 80, heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. I'd rather attack with the water one. And the question right now is one of the questions I'm finding myself asking already. Do we include a Forest of Giant Plants to evolve into our Lombres in our first turn, or do we include a Rough Seas for the Alpha recovery, which allows us to heal? And if we heal 30 with the Rough Seas, then we heal 60 in total because of this Alpha recovery. So that's one question that we'll have to think about later on. And I'm going to include both for now. I'm going to include Rough Seas as a trainer. Let's start with 1 copy, and the Forest of Giant Plants as well. Also 1 copy. Nice reverse holo Forest of Giant Plants right there. Let's then start with the basics of the trainers. Some VS Seekers, 4 copies of the VS Seeker. We are going to need it. Basically every deck needs it. Ultra Ball. How many Ultra Balls will we put in? We'll start off with 4. That's also a basic count for most of the decks, and then we are going to put in some Shaymin for draw support. If you are going to evolve with the Forest of Giant Plants, Shaymin is going to come in handy to dig our Lombres out of our deck, get them into our hand. And I'm also going to include some level balls for now. This will also help out to get the Lombres in hand as well as the Lotads. Let's start with 2 level balls, and then let's decrease the count of the Super Rod to 1. We could always increase it later on, but 1 is what you typically find, and I think we won't need more than that. 1 Super Rod. What else are we missing? Draw support, Sycamore. Let's put in some Sycamores. We'll put in 4 Sycamores to start with, and we'll put in some N. That doesn't work. Let's search for prize. We've got the new N from the Fates Collide expansion. Let's put in 3 N. Haven't got 4 yet. Hopefully I can get some more at some point. So we'll put in some N. We'll decrease the count of the Pokemon Fan Club to 1. And do we wanna Assault Vest? I'm gonna decrease the count of the Assault Vest to 2 right now. We have some other tools we could put in, so we'll have to see how low we go with the Assault Vest. For now, I'm going to go back to the Pokemon and I'm going to see if we can find a companion for Ludicolo, because Ludicolo by itself is not the greatest of attackers. I'm going to try to see if I can find a basic attacker I don't want to include another evolution line because it's already 2 evolution lines in one deck often makes a deck clunky, so we want to stick to a basic. I'll be right back when I found some potential candidates for a partner. Alright, I am back with my selection of potential partners, and as you can see, I've got some grass Pokemon and I've got some water Pokemon, and the reason for that is we could work with grass Pokemon. We could definitely do that. For example, Vileplume could be a partner. I know that's a stage 2. I said I was not going to look at stage 2s, but I did. I couldn't resist seeing if there was any nice interactions, and Vileplume is a potential candidate. Combine Vileplume with Ludicolo just to shut off our opponent's item cards, and now we could focus on the Astonish attack together with Delinquent. And I actually kind of like the idea of combining Astonish with Delinquent. Try to reduce our opponent's hand size to 1, then use the Astonish and discard his card, and after that we can go with our Splash Dance to dish out some serious damage. So Vileplume is a potential candidate, but also there is Sceptile here with the Nurture ability, Nurture and Heal, which allows us to attach a Grass Energy card from our hands to one of our Pokemon. If we do, we heal 30 damage from that Pokemon. So this Sceptile has some synergy with the Alpha Recovery from the Ludicolo. We would have to play both Grass and Water Energies in the same deck if we want to do that. We could then use its ability, heal 30 damage from our Ludicolo, but because of the Alpha Recovery, we would be healing 60 just by attaching that energy, and we would be helping us to power up, or the ability would help us to power up the Splash Dance as well. But there is then the indeed the requirements to play 2 different kinds of energies, and that can be quite tricky. And that is also Durant with the Scrape Down. If we go for a Delinquent approach, we could include Durant as a tech and try to mill our opponent's deck as soon as he is left without any cards in hand because of our Astonish. This would also require us to put in either Grass Energies and a way to put some damage on Durant, or just simply we could put in Rainbow Energies instead. Rainbow Energies to help put some damage onto Durant for the Scrape Down, and Rainbow Energies would also work with Ludicolo to power up the Splash Dance. So there's those Pokemon, and then there's the water approach. We could just run pure Water Energies and or Water Energies with Rainbow Energy, that's possible as well. And include Manaphy-EX just to give our Pokemon free retreat. Our Ludicolo has a 2 retreat cost, so that would be quite nice if we would have free retreat. We could also include a Regice as a tech against EX heavy decks. The Resistance Blizzard can help us to stall against those decks, and we could even include the Seismitoad-EX if we are going to use DCEs. Why the heck not? Why the heck not prevent my opponent from using item cards? And there's also the Articuno to get some more prizes with the Tri-Edge and the Delta Plus ability. If we knock out an EX with Articuno with the Tri-Edge, we can take 3 prizes instead of 2. So lots of different types of options. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm not going to focus on the Alpha Recovery. Instead, I'm going to focus on the Delinquent approach. I'm going to try to reduce my opponent's hand size to 0 cards. So we are going to try to build an annoying deck right here. And that means I'm going to put back in the Delinquent that was originally in the PTCGO Deck Wizards list. Funnily enough, I got rid of it, but we are going to include it once again, and we are also going to include a red card to help us bring our opponent's hand size down to 4 cards. Let's include 3 red cards. And that should do it. Red card plus Delinquent, and then we can go for the Astonish. Let's have a look at our energies. We don't need this many energies, and we are going to stick to Water Energies for now. Let's get rid of all the Grass Energies. Do we then include some DCEs? That is another question. I feel like keeping in the Seismitoad as well as the Regice, as well as the Manaphy actually. I feel like keeping all those cards in the deck, and even the Articuno can be really useful. I'm going to thin the line of the Ludicolo down to 4. Let's reduce the basics down to 3. And Lotad, the Lombre also down to 3. And then what do we do now? This is a tough decision here. We need to thin down further. We need to thin our deck down some more here. We definitely need to decide on the stadium. Are we going to go with grass first of giant plants? And I think we are. We are not going to try to focus on the healing strategy. So let's get rid of the rough seas and let's include 3 first of giant plants just so that we can evolve our Lombre as soon as we can. And we are going to stick to 2 Shaymin. I think that's a minimum that we will need to try to find our red card and delinquent combo. I'm also going to reduce the Sycamore count to 2. So we have 5 open spots right now. 5 open spots, that's pretty good. I think we can try to fill those up. Maybe we should include some muscle bands. 2 muscle bands just to increase our damage output a little bit more. Then we would do 50 with the Astonish and 80 with the Splash Dance. That's a 2-hit knockout on a Yveltal, baby Yveltal. And that is a nice amount, hitting for 130. I think without the muscle band we would be in trouble because we would only hit for 90 with 2 hits, with 1 hit of the Astonish and a hit of the Splash Dance. So I think muscle band is going to be quite necessary in this deck. Can we reduce the amount of Pokemon any further? Let's see. Maybe I should stick with the Lotad and get rid of this Regis altogether, as well as the Articuno. Stick with the Manaphy and the Toad as attack against Night March. We will keep a thick line just so we can evolve easily with the stadium. Maybe increase the Lombre back to 4 and decrease 1 Ludicolo. Although that's a bit risky. Do we want to keep in this Ludicolo with the Listener ability? It is a very nice effect, but are we ever going to be able to evolve into 3 Ludicolo? Because ideally, if I have 3 Lombre out on the bench, I at least want to have 2 evolve in this Ludicolo, and then maybe the 3rd one in this one. I'm not really sold on the Ludicolo here. I'm not really sold on it right now. And we won't be able to attack with this if we don't run grass energy. So maybe I should include some rainbow energy. Definitely should if we keep in the Durant. But I'm not sold on a Durant either. This is a very tough build here for today. Yeah, a very tough build indeed. Maybe let's put in 2 Durants and then 2 Rainbow Energy. Or even 3. I'm thinking it might be too difficult including the Durant in this deck. So let's get rid of the Durant, so let's get rid of the Rainbow Energy, and we are going to replace the Durant with a Bunnelby. I think that's a better choice here. Even though it's slower, it doesn't require us to play Rainbow Energy. Why is it not finding the Bunnelby? Oh, I've got some filters on. Alright, we should be able to find it now, and there it is. Let's include at least 1 Bunnelby. This will help us to recover, for example, DCEs, which we are then going to run. Because DCEs have very nice synergy with our Ludicolo as well as our Seismitoad, and our Bunnelby can also use them. So let's put in 3 DCEs, the new DCEs from the Fates Collide expansion. Then we have 10 energy total. I think that should be sufficient here. That should definitely be sufficient for us. Might even want to go lower. Yeah, and I think I will. I am going to go lower. I'm going to go down to 9, 6 water, and then 3 DCEs. Should we increase the count of the DCEs to 4? Let's make it a 4-6 splits, a 4-5 splits. Oh, we have to include another DCE. I don't have 4 of the pink one. A 5-4 split. Yes, that looks like it's a good split because we can also use our DCE for the Astonish. So DCs are indeed going to be very important, and the water energy is going to be mainly important for our Manaphy-EX. And I think that's it for the Pokemon line. Kinda tempted to include another Bunnelby. Yeah, let's include 2 Bunnelbys, and then we shall have a look. What do we have left? Only 1 spot. Only 1 spot. Oh boy. I'm gonna get rid of 1 Assault Vest, and I'm going to put in some compressors. Compressors to increase the deck's consistency, so we can compress some delinquents into our discard pile, get them back with VS Seeker. 2 delinquents. Hex Maniac might be useful in the deck as well. Let's try to put in a Hex Maniac. And what can we get rid of? Maybe one red card. 1 red card, and that's it. So we've got Hex Maniac as a counter against Greninja Break, Trevenant Break, and all the likes of it. And I think this is then the final list. I think let's have a look at the general overview. What is our draw support? We have Sycamore, we have N, 3N, 2 Sycamore, and 2 Shaymin plus 4 Ultra Ball to search him out. We've also got an Archie as draw support, although we won't be using it that much. So we've got, I think, sufficient draw support. We've got no switches, just 1 Escape Rope, no Float Stones, but we have the Manaphy for free retreat. So you have some free retreat options. We've also got a Toad as a counter against Night March, and as a general purpose attacker, generally very good card to include if you can. And then we've got our strategy, the Delinquents, the red cards, and the Astonish from the Ludicolo to bring our opponent's hand size down to 0 cards, and our Bunnelby to start milling when we have done that. So yeah, I think this is going to be the list. Leave a like if you enjoyed me putting together this list, if you enjoyed my thought process. It was a very tough job here today to find a strategy for the Ludicolo. There was so many things you could do with it. And I went for maybe a difficult approach. I hope it's going to pay off. We will see soon enough. Maybe you will already know, maybe you've already seen the Wizard Challenge. And I'm going to record that right now, so leave a like if you enjoyed this episode. Subscribe to my channel for more competitive, silly and fun deck ideas. And I will see you in my next video.
Karp, 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 Karp.